5:31. Okay, if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Chenault, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief Thompson, please lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for these commissioners who are making difficult decisions on behalf of this community. We pray for everyone in this room tonight, all our citizens, our first responders, our employees. We just lift them up in prayer and pray your blessing upon them. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. We will call the meeting to order. First item I will address is the excusing Kitty Strode from the meeting tonight, but she is, do you have her on there?
She's up there.
Kitty, you there?
I am.
Okay, and Commissioner Strode is, you can see her up in the right-hand corner on the screen. She is here. So first item of business is new business, appeal of a denied beer cheese relief fund grant application. Ms. Shannon Tipton, who is with the Crystal Coven Mystic Cottage, if you want to come forward and.
Thank you all for allowing me to be here. I submitted copies of the original application, verification, financial review, the denial letter, and the formal appeal documentation regarding the beer cheese relief fund application and the appeal process that followed. I would like to briefly explain why I'm requesting the Commission's oversight and determination. I submitted the application in good faith, relying on the published eligibility criteria. My application advanced to an independent financial review by a third-party CPA selected by the advisory group, which indicated that the application was eligible for evaluation. Because of this, it was concerning that I later received a denial based upon eligibility standards that were not outlined in the original application guidelines. I was also not notified in writing that my application had been tabled by the advisory group, resulting in a 3-month waiting period following by a CPA review. During that period, I did not receive written communication regarding the status of the tabled application, nor did I receive a notice when my application would be reviewed and ultimately denied. The expanded delay following the approval of the CPA has initiated an additional hardship, which was directly correlated to the relief fund program and what it was intended to address. Based upon the process as it unfolded, it appears that the advisory group exercised decision-making authority over public administrative funds in the manner that exceeded an advisory role. The application materials specifically stated that the funds are to be distributed following a review by an independent certified public accountant with an advisory committee establishing ranking and grant totals to be submitted to the commission for review and approval. The structure indicates that the advisory committee role is to rank and recommend applications for commission review, rather than exercise final authority as to who is denied and who goes on to the governing body. The advisory group made the decision which the applications were approved and forwarded to the governing body, which is you, the city council, and what applications were denied, which never reached your governing body. In regard to my application, the advisory group appeared to have exercised authority to deny my application using criteria outside of the published guidelines rather than serving solely as an advisory role to the governing body. During the appeal process, when I asked clarification regarding the application review and determination process, Ms. Liggett acknowledged and took responsibility for typographical errors in the application materials. This acknowledgement further raised concerns for me about how eligibility was determined and what criteria was being applied to the applications. Additionally, the city commission minutes from September the 2nd, 2025 listed the beer cheese relief funds under the heading of DDIF funds. This public record appears to indicate that the oversight and processing authority for the grant program rests with the Downtown Development Investment Fund. This classification raises greater questioning about whether the advisory group determinations and actions align with the established oversight framework under the commission's own records, where there are no DDIF minutes reflecting any activities related to the Beer Cheese Relief Fund. When I appeared for the denial, a meeting was held, or when I appealed the denial, a meeting was held, a motion was made, that motion was seconded, and votes occurred to uphold the denial. However, no minutes were made or taken, or will they be made available for public view. This is a concern as there is a KRS 61.835 for Kentucky Open Meeting Act. Because the program involves publicly administered funds and reportable grant payments, I'm respectfully asking the commission to review whether the process used is aligned with the requirements of Open Records Act, KRS 61.800 through 61.850, and the Kentucky Open Records Act, KRS 61.870 through 61.884, including whether appropriate notice, documentation, and records were kept and would be made available. I'm also respectfully requesting that the governing approval body overturn the denial of my application and approve the application based upon the assessed criteria and the information provided by the CPA as indicated in the eligibility process. This request is not on behalf of just my business, but to ensure that all programs intended to support local businesses are administered with clarity, consistency, and transparency, so applicants and the public can trust the process. I appreciate your time, your service, and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. While we're discussing this, I'm going to ask Whitney if she would like to come forward and address any of this, and that's some other members of the advisory committee.
Mr. Walker, wanna come up with me, answer any questions?
Thank you, Shannon.
I guess I have a lot of notes, but if you guys have specific questions, I think that would be the easiest way to approach this. So if you have questions about the process or anything like that, I'm happy to answer those. And I know that Mr. Walker would be as well.
I think maybe just explain to us why it was denied.
Yeah. So the reasoning for the denial from the advisory group was that the businesses needed to have been in business for 1 year prior to application date in order to give a fair representation of a comparison of year over year data. So Ms. Tipton did have a business prior to that, but it wasn't located in downtown Winchester, which the advisory group determined couldn't really give an adequate comparison. So that was the reason for the denial.
Okay. Mr. Walker, you want to add anything? You're on the committee there, just kind of,
Yeah,
and what was the vote on the committee? I have no clue.
all votes have been unanimous thus far, 100%.
Okay.
And the reason for denial, I guess you kind of get in the weeds because you have two separate issues that you've been asked to look at tonight, which is whether or not this board was acting under authority or legal. We've maintained, we actually said this at the appeal meeting, that we've considered this an ad hoc meeting. It does get a little confusing because DDIF funds are held by, it's Beer Cheese Festival money, it's held by the Bluegrass Community Foundation. It gets all back and forth. It's a big mess. You guys know more about it than me. I'm not even going to try to go down that rabbit hole. But I will say that we tried to get this grant out in accordance with, Mayor Reed, what you had requested. In the timeline that was requested, we could have possibly put together a full set of bylaws and all that, but it would have taken another 6 months to a year to get to that point. So the idea was to get this out as quick as possible. When we proposed this for you guys, the kind of mandate was, yeah, we'll do that. You guys figure out the best way to get money to downtown businesses. I don't, specifically the reason that there were multiple applications tabled was we didn't have any information. The bulk of the grant was given based on your loss of income year to year, not on any damages or anything like that. And so when you have a business that wasn't in the downtown the year prior, then construction begins, then that business is in downtown. There's just no way to compare apples to apples. I think the same would have been true had a business moved across the street or if a business had expanded. Any alteration from exact same of this year to this year is going to definitely alter the profit and loss statements. And that's why the group decided that we just can't justify awarding monies when we have no clear direction of what the comparable was this year to last year.
And just for clarity purposes, so when we approved the funding, there were two separate relief programs that were approved. There was a DDIF fund that was up to $3,000 for any business within that district. And then the relief funds were a separate application process under different guidelines, different rules, different process. So those $3,000 grants did go through the DDIF committee, which is a appointed city commission committee. So we do have minutes, we do post meeting announcements, that sort of thing for those. Because like Mr. Walker said, this was an ad hoc group. We did not have meeting minutes. We did not post that the meetings were taking place. There's been quite a bit of confusion when we established these two different relief programs about what was what. And so I think that DDIF has been thrown in there as that is the same thing, and it's not. And so I did, as Ms. Tipton said, I did take ownership that there was an error where DDIF was listed in either the guidelines or the application. We should have caught that, but for the sake of trying to get these funds to people as quickly as possible, we did move quickly, and that was a mistake on it, and I took ownership for that. So
Because we did push you off for relief for the downtown businesses.
And I would like to add with that too, that there were multiple communications. I personally worked on the DDIF stuff myself to try to get it through as quick as possible with Whitney. We also have been in communication with every downtown person I have their email on, and everyone is included in this, even the last one before the commission decided on this. If anybody's got any questions, if anybody wants to add to it, if there's any issue whatsoever, please come to this meeting and discuss it. And I don't recall anybody showing up to have any conversation about that.
And it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that Ms. Tipton, or you can correct me, that you did receive $3,000 from DDIF. Is that correct? Okay. Commissioner Toole, if you don't mind me asking, I won't call you, put you on the spot, but you were at that meeting, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you fill in some gaps or opinions or thoughts?
Well, I have all kinds of opinions, but in the end, we have created an advisory board for the reason to give recommendations. So above all else, I would say that my opinion is to follow the recommendation of the board. I think Ms. Tipton, after reading her narrative, has encountered a lot of pain through the construction process, as numerous businesses on Main Street did. And I won't divulge too much of my opinion on that. And I think the scenario is unfortunate because, yes, she was operating in the city of Winchester, but unfortunately she wasn't on Main Street. And we have businesses on Court, Cleveland, Lexington, Broadway who have been in existence numerous years and weren't eligible for this. So it was a very specified checklist of things that would make you be able to receive the funds. On a personal note, I haven't spoken up in the best, strongest way of saying things for Crystal Coven. There's been a lot of drama around the business. And so I'm taking this moment to say that I think Shannon's business, Mrs. Tipton's business, is a great asset to the downtown community. But it's just a shame that it's this fine line of a timeline that is making the difference here.
How long were you downtown before you made this application?
So I took possession of that building in the 1st of May.
It was May
After-
17th, Shannon, right? Sorry, Ms.
I officially opened my doors May 17th after all of the inspections were done and I was legally able to operate as a business. I took possession of that building the first part of May. That was with careful consideration of reading the contract of the construction, and how things would play out. And as we all know, that's not how things played out. And I will re-reference again that the criteria for why I was denied was not listed in the eligibility.
But if you opened May the 17th, you made this application September the 25th, you were only open downtown 4 months.
So the previous business was less than a mile away, serving the same community with the same offerings, same prices, same ownership, same everything. After spending multiple hours with the CPA, when you're looking at profit and loss based upon something specific, he agreed that that was a reasonable, and I actually was approved for more than I asked for. By the CPA that reviewed my financials. So when you're looking at revitalization, when you're looking at things on specific impacts, because was less than a mile away, and the denial of which I received was not part of the application process to begin with, that's why I'm here.
I believe you asked for 6,500. Is that right? I
$6,500.
spent the weekend trying to read all
And
this,
that
so.
does not, and I included both festival incomes, which we were allowed to take out for what we were told. They were left in. I did not count any extra signage that had to be purchased because of construction. I didn't count anything that I'm still using. And when your CPA looks at you and said you made more money being less than a mile away from both downtown festivals, and what hurt you dramatically was the construction, it's devastating. Knowing that I looked at that contract very carefully, to make sure that if I did experience, and which everyone was going to, everyone was going to experience some type of impact. That was understandable. But the way things played out, that impact was much more than I think any of us had intended.
Okay, thank you. So Bill, do we need to take a vote as
The appeal?
to,
Yeah, of course.
oh,
I know.
I just wanted to,
hi Jennifer.
it's been a while since I did have something here come up. Jennifer Wilson, 18 West Lexington Avenue. I have to say, I had no idea that this was the DDF 3000 and this was separate. So, and I was, as you know, intimately involved in all this stuff. So if I didn't realize that we definitely had a little messaging problem. Appreciate the both monies being made available as a downtown business owner. I understand where someone would want to say being a year downtown is a legitimate consideration to make, but it was not in the original requirements. And I think that we need to err on the side of assisting our downtown as opposed to creating criteria after the fact that business owners and citizens did not have as a consideration before applying. In this situation, the denied businesses, I think she's the only one that existed over a year before being downtown. So I think it's kind of niggly. And I think we should err if the money is available on the side of assisting. I mean, I was just sitting in her store and she closed early and I can't tell you how many people walked up to her door. She has got significant traffic coming to come to her store. And I feel like we need to be as supportive as possible. And I think we have to be very careful about being transparent in the way we treat our downtown businesses and funds that are being allocated through the city, whether it's through DDIF or from Beer Cheese or from an ad hoc committee created. I think that if she went to the time and trouble and had the numbers that established that she had a bigger loss than she even asked for. I think these are all significant. And I also want to point out that nowhere does an appeal get considered by the entity that made the decision. There's a reason for multiple layers. And I don't think an appeal could have been reviewed and justly carried out by the same entity that made the original decision that's being appealed. And turning my lawyer brain off now. Thank you guys very much for letting me speak.
You aren't eligible for these things.
I was eligible for the 3,000 and I acquired it and I
But
was
the
very
other
appreciative.
funds, you weren't.
Right, because I'm not on
And you were
Main
open
Street, but
12 months.
But there was nothing in that application and in the materials that were provided to help guide whether or not you applied that indicated that you had to be open for a year in your location on downtown Main Street. That was not there. That was, and it's not illogical for that to have been a requirement, but it was not a requirement in the original application for grantees to apply to. So you have to be very careful about what you're putting out there and being accountable for it, as far as it was not a requirement when Ms. Tipton made her application, and it was not out there. It would have deemed her ineligible. Like, I was not eligible to apply for that $10,000 because I don't exist on Main Street. When I looked at it, if it didn't say that, then I applied for it, then I'd get rejected for something that wasn't a requirement. Then it's the same thing.
But I mean, any logical person.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're
Right,
talking about
right.
grants. You
We're
have to
not
be
talking
very
about
careful and you should have a
logic
professional
here,
writing
yes.
those.
Well, you know, and I mean, we have to go by the folks we ask to do these things. Because if we don't listen to them,
But
why
that's,
do
I
we
think, a different
have
point.
them?
You put out
Right.
an application for somebody to ask for grant money that they'll have to report in their taxes, that you have to account for where that money went as an entity that has ownership of the money, whether it was Beer Cheese or DDIF. So you have to be accountable for the good and the bad. And I'm just saying, in a small community like this, where we're trying to do something with our downtown, I would err on the side of being helpful as opposed to not. But either way, that was not a requirement. If it was required that your business be open from 3 a.m. to midnight, and your business isn't open from 3 a.m. to midnight continuously the next day or whatever, I can't apply, but I won't know that. You can't make that up as a rule after the fact.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like if I wanted to move Lowe's up on Main Street for one day.
Well, but that wouldn't meet the other requirements that are in the grant, that you're open for a certain amount of hours, that you stay open for 6 months after. I mean, you're going to an extreme to try to prove that there's a loophole, when this is just a matter of fact of,
Yep.
if I can't apply for this grant, I can't apply for it.
She asked for 6,600 and
65.
She said she asked for less than she was deemed eligible for by the accountant.
you asked for 6,500. You were open for 1/3 of the year. I say we give her 1/3 of what she asked for.
I was just wanting to show my support and that's your decision
Yeah.
as far as how you guys proceed.
Yeah.
But I do think you have to be careful of who's reviewing decisions and who's making decisions. If this is taxpayer money, I want to make sure that we're.
It's not taxpayer.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, and
It's
I didn't
Richie's
know that
money.
going into it, but it's still funds that are being allocated by the city.
Well, it's just a pass. We're just a pass through.
I understand, but I think the biggest point to me is if you put out a grant, regardless of where the money's coming from, you have to abide by what the requirements were, and that was not a requirement when she applied. But anyway, just wanted to.
James has a.
Yeah, that's a.
Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, James Wellman, High Speed Collectibles, right here on Main Street. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know, for me, from a legal perspective, the eligibility requirements didn't state that. She met all the eligibility requirements. The CPA signed off on it as well, saying that she should be allotted $6,600. She requested $65,000. From a legal perspective, and Mr. Dykeman can probably help me with this, the money should be approved, no problem. Because the denial letter stating that they had to be open beforehand a year, that was not an eligibility requirement. So you can't add that to the fact. But, you know, I'm not a legal expert, Mr. Dykeman is. So on top of that, I got approved for the $10,000, the full $10,000, which I greatly appreciate. But one thing I did want to add in there as well is that, you know, randomly we would show up and the concrete would be busted up in front of our door. There would be newly poured concrete and I'd not get communicated with about it, the whole 9 yards. So we had to close randomly. However, I was not going to wait for the city support to ensure the success of our business. So I maneuvered around that as well, the best as I could. And we ended up opening 7 days a week. Now, the bad part to that is that actually put us in a position to where we made more money than we did last year. And it's like, okay, so if I would have let the business fail and, you know, eventually close by the end of the year because we didn't receive that financial support, you know, should I have done that? Or should I have tried to figure it out and still made the same amount of money, you know? So that was the bad part, is because I couldn't submit year-to-date reports because it did show that we had more sales this year than last year. And what we had to do is we had to get creative. We had to use the like week-to-week analogy based off of us having to close certain days and stuff like that we didn't know about. And that's how we got approved for the full $10,000. So the only reason why I'm speaking on this is because I actually did have a pretty close hand with Chad in helping come up with the eligibility requirements for downtown. I did think that we did speak about the 1 year, you know, being open downtown, but because that didn't get into the eligibility requirements, I don't think that we can uphold it. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's just my 2 cents.
Yes, ma'am. You care to, Joy, you?
My name
we're not
is
in
Misty
public.
Gay.
Okay.
I am a patron of the Crystal Coven, but I'm not really here to speak on being a patron there. I kind of want to address Mr. Cox's comment about upholding what the advisory committee says. And I understand that you guys feel obligated to do that, but I also want to point out that you are also obligated as a governing board to hold them accountable. They've made a mistake by not including what they wanted to originally into the guidelines. And you all do have a duty as the governing body of the city to hold that ad hoc committee accountable. And I think that's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to be our government, and to be our government transparently, effectively, and fairly. Thank you.
Well, hold on, let me address what
Please.
you said.
Yes.
There were times when people came in here with applications that I knew were suspect,
Okay.
okay? But we approved them because that's what the committee said. Even the guy that came in here who closed the next week, and I knew he was going to close.
Then I would say that you missed an opportunity, sir, to hold your committee accountable.
Well, they didn't know that though. You know, but he eventually did get the money. But I mean, if why have them if you're not going to listen to them?
I'm not saying don't listen
know,
to them.
Right. But why have a committee in place for that, or for historic preservation, or anything else, parks?
I've served on many committees
WMU,
myself.
yes. And if we tell them tonight, okay, we're not listening to your recommendation, next time they meet, they'll probably have 3 people there.
I'm not asking you not to listen to their recommendation.
Right,
I'm
Chad?
simply asking you to realize that they've made a mistake, hold them accountable for their mistake, take the opportunity to be transparent, correct the mistake, learn from it, and govern with fairness. And I think that's a reasonable request.
May I?
Please.
Aside from what you're saying, I am not debating you by any means. I do find that, you know, the CPA inappropriately approved this because unfortunately directions item 2 stating beginning in April 2025, it began in May of 2025. And this is, and I shouldn't maybe be the one speaking up because I was in the appeal, because this is where it gets hard because it does become personal. I've only purchased an item or 2 from Ms. Tipton. I have been in the store. I believe in metaphysics. I believe in what she's doing. The story about your Reiki treatment, all of it. There's so many things I could say to that construction project, but that's neither here nor there. The one thing that this situation makes me think of is similar to what Commissioner Cox is saying, of being consistent in our regulations, rules, and upholding them. And I will use a very specific example of street closures, and how at one point the city commission approved street closures, and there was once a street closure that did not fall within those parameters. and it still was voted through. And from that moment, the commission no longer approved street closures. So I am here to uphold what we are supposed to be doing and not dart around it. I think strongly of everything Mrs. Tipton has done. It's just one of those things that it's hard to play. Well, we can play a third here and a half here. And, you know, I'd ask questions about some of the fees that she incurred. And for clear, concise lines, I think that is why I stand with what the committee had suggested.
Okay, so my question is if they didn't include guidelines that they added after the fact, do you feel that's fair to anyone?
So I can't speak to legality. I can say that what I have in front of me, the scoring sheet says April, and that if I had been on the committee or thought of it, which it doesn't matter because I'm not on it, but the CPA maybe, and the CPA volunteered their time. So I'm not sitting here saying shame on the CPA. But in everyone trying to do their best to do the right thing, there was some human error. You know, I think that the program in and of itself is not standard for a local government. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of feelings about the program. I think it's a healthy thing to provide. But I do think we're trying to do the best we can. We did it as quickly as we can. I'm not speaking into anything legally.
So in turn with Mr. Bowman stating that he was not able to give you a year to date, but yet he was still awarded the $10,000, but yet you're requiring for Ms. Tipton to give a year.
I'm not debating, and I would have to go back to look at all of it. Again, I think our city
Because I
attorney
believe that's
would,
what he just stated right here.
we would need the city attorney. This is not a personal moment by moment debate in my
I'm just
opinion.
asking for fairness, and it seems like there's not fairness.
Well, I could just ask the city attorney to answer all of that because those were the requirements, and all that the commission has seen were things that were approved. Until this moment, we did not see what was denied. And when I sat through the appeal process, I asked about other scenarios similar to this, and I'm aware of those, and there are some. So,
Okay.
Commissioner Strode, do you have any comments?
I'm sorry?
Any comments?
Well, the one comment that I have is I think what Shannon said, and I can't hear real well tonight, but I think one reason this committee was put in place, and they're your peers from downtown. And I feel like that the commission needs to back their decision. I mean, they are property owners, they are businesses, and they were put in place to make these decisions, and I really feel like we need to back them up.
Okay. Mr. Chenault, any comments?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think we need to be fair about it. And I think we need to reopen it and look at it more further and come up with a more fair solution for her. That's what I think.
Okay, does anyone want to make the motion to Mr. Dykeman? Should we say deny or to support, which is?
Or as Commissioner Cox mentioned, make some other determination, monetary determination. It's up to you.
Well,
Okay.
if it's denied, we don't have a vote, right?
No, I think you still vote.
Okay.
I think you still vote. Yeah.
To either support the denial or overturn the denial. Is that correct? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion as to what you think?
I make a motion to support it.
To support the denial?
No, to support the fairness of what Mrs. Tipton has spoken on.
Okay, is that a motion? Is
Yes.
that a motion? Is there a second? Okay, motion fails for a lack of a vote. Is there another motion?
You guys have already met on this twice, right?
Yes,
You
did the appeal too?
yes.
Same people that considered the first time, considered the appeal. It's not.
So if somebody needs to talk, if you guys should go up there, because I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were different.
Excuse me, ma'am?
You heard me. I would just say that.
Hold on. Mr. Cox.
Hey, let's,
I don't know why you denied my mom. work on her house now. I see-
Guys, let's stay on topic, okay? Please. Okay, Jennifer,
I was
sorry.
just going to suggest that having the same body that made the initial decision really should not be who considers the appeal. So I'm saying that you, the commission, should actually review the applications and consider the appeal, I think is what Commissioner Chenault was suggesting. So I was just trying to be an aid in clarifying, but you are looking at having a decision-making body because you've made them the decision-making body as opposed to just making a recommendation and you've allowed them to then hear the appeal. And just saying for fairness that maybe that should be considered by you guys directly as opposed to the committee. Not questioning Mr. Chad and his ability when he reviewed it, but it should be another set of people.
She finishes.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Mr. Dykeman,
I think her point's well taken in the sense that,
can you speak up just a little
I
bit?
think the point is well taken in the sense that the body that makes a decision is not the body that hears the appeal. It doesn't happen in court. It doesn't happen anywhere else that I know. If you make the decision, it's appealed to someone else.
And
that is you.
And that would be Mr. Chenault, Commissioner Chenault's recommendation to you that the commission ought to review the appeal and then the decision be made following that. So,
are you saying from this point on, or?
well, in this specific
At this specific
situation,
incident?
specifically as it relates to this ad hoc committee, because that's what an ad hoc committee is. This is over now. That committee will be dissolved. There will be no more with completion of this, but this specific application should be reviewed. There's been an appeal made.
Right.
You as the city commission will review that
Correct.
appeal and come back with a formal recommendation and vote it up or down.
I motion to table the appeal to the next meeting so the commission can review the entire packet and the narrative.
That's reviewing the appeal. So I was just, yeah.
Well, I think we have to re-motion it since it was denied.
Yes, we will.
So I will motion,
And I'll make a second.
there we go.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. So we will bring this back. I have read the packet. I will reread the packet. And then at our next meeting, which is March 3rd, then we'll have an answer.
And
Is that
just
okay?
in a public format, Mr. Attorney Dykeman, if I sat through the appeal process.
You didn't vote on it.
I don't really think you have to.
No, I did not vote.
No.
But I think you can participate.
Just wanted to know ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. All right, next item on the agenda is 2B, Frontier Way pickup and drop-off lanes for schools. Who wants to address that, Mr.?
I'm going to let Mr. Jesse.
Okay, Mr. McCoy, if you'll come forward and.
He was the one that suggested this, and I want to give Jesse the credit in our Public Works Committee meeting that he had mentioned this, and I think it's a very good suggestion.
Great idea.
Yeah, after talking with Dustin when he was here, because I included him on the email the other day when I had this map drawn up to look at this. My thoughts would be that we have the row of parking that is basically overflow parking for the area over there now. With all the traffic, with the schools going in, all the traffic being back there with Winchester Farms in the back, the new additions going in, I think we turn that lane into a loading and unloading drop-off pickup lane, block it out for a time determined by the school system that they feel would be beneficial to them, like a 6 to 8, like a 3 to 5 or 2 to 4, something time period, just twice a day. The residents would still be able to use the parking through the day, overnight, weekends without any problems. They would just have to be moved before loading and unloading. And what that would do is that would put all the inbound traffic that blocks everything over there against the curb and still allow 2 lanes of travel.
Right.
For people to get in and out mornings, afternoons.
Both ways.
Yeah, and then if somebody was to happen to park, say somebody had to run in their house real quick and they parked on the road in front of their house, you would still have enough room for traffic to flow
Both ways.
without impeding anyone else in the area. So, it was just something I thought of that, especially since that widens out once you get to Barton Court.
Yep.
You can see the road widens. So why don't we take advantage of that, especially with, possibly the subdivisions growing in the back and some other future plans.
What's a phenomenal creative
Yeah.
idea. Have you
Yeah.
discussed this with the school system?
They were included in the emails. I told them
Okay.
we would get together with transportation, Dustin, ourselves to sit down and discuss it first before we actually brought a real plan on how to do things well with Brian Public Works. So we would strike it out. We're looking at the cost and making sure and signage and everything right now, just so we all know up front what it would be and how beneficial I think this is going to be to,
Well, I taught at the road station. It took a helicopter to get out of there.
yeah.
So,
And they're blocking off through the day because they don't want cut through traffic.
correct.
So this would help them. They could come out after drop off and pick up, still keep closed. The residents still can use the parking through the day, evenings and weekends without really any hindrance.
So, Mr. City Manager, do you want us to wait and no vote tonight?
Yeah,
And
well,
let you all bring it back to the next meeting?
I
more
just wanted your consensus
Yeah.
on it. I didn't want to waste the school
Yeah.
board's time
I think it's
and
great.
our staff time in doing the work. So if we have your consensus that you're fine with
Yeah.
it, then we'll move forward. We'll put together a little cost estimate of what it's going to cost us to sign,
I agree.
stripe it and all that. And then we'll go from there. And then hopefully, definitely in the next month or so, if we can get Brian broke loose, we'll get him out there and we'll try to get this done. We're probably gonna have to make some notification.
To the
I think it would be
That's what I
good
was
to
The neighborhood.
notify the property owners that front along that entire area of what we're proposing to do here. I'm sure, nobody wants to lose a parking spot, but at the same time, they want traffic to flow as well. So, it's hard to please both sides of it, but we'll do our best. But I think notification it would be in
Agree.
order to do that.
And all of these houses have driveways too.
Driveways, garages, and we're technically not taking anything from them. That's just overflow parking currently. A lot of people, we all know we like to keep Marty's car out there. Maybe we could space him off the spot, spray it out. That way the car's not sitting there in the, once we do this, to still keep the memorial going kind of for him in an area. And then I just think that's better use of that area, because once you get past the preschool's driveway, the road comes back down to just 2 lanes. So, with future connection points, we may be able to take this out once we get a little bit further down the road with some of these subdivisions and future connection points out to Colby, out to Lexington Road toward, going to Fayette County and stuff. But this was just a suggestion I had while we were sitting in meetings, listening to our public talk about, because I was in the planning and zoning meeting and some people were concerned because you only have that way in and out for the whole entire area back there. So once you get past Lowe's, you're one road in, one road out.
Exactly.
So this is just something popped in my head to think maybe we bring it out and let you all discuss it, see if everybody's on board, school board's on board.
And there's a safety reason as well.
That's another, yeah.
You got ingress
kids.
and one way in and one way out. As
You
you
got kids
said,
in folks' cars.
fire, you have
Yeah, and that's
school threat.
Yeah,
or-
both chief and, access. So that'll open that back up for everybody. So I just think this
Okay.
is something we think of, especially because once we get that and the connection point out, we could always extend Martin Luther King to go on and connect to, and then it'll give us a full loop in the future
Okay.
coming up.
Unless the commission has a reason not to, I think we'll go ahead and ask for your due diligence on
Okay.
this and do a cost run and come back with recommendation.
Will do.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you all.
Well, and every one of these houses needs to be.
Yeah, anybody that will be within basically from Bartram all the way to the end of Frontier right now, I think anyone facing that area, even if it's, I don't know if we can send out to everyone in the area, but at least those houses.
I think at least everyone between Crockett and Tremont.
Yeah.
Because that's the only
That's the
one you're
main
talking
area.
about.
Well, really from Bartram where it widens out, from that point, I think we go from that point to the end of Frontier, any house facing Frontier.
Over notification is not gonna hurt
Yeah.
anything.
Because the word will start spreading through the neighborhoods, and then, once somebody watches this and then we start putting out a few more things, everyone will start getting a little traction on what we're talking about. So I think a lot of everybody over there like that.
Okay,
So
great idea.
I don't have to deal with it. I know there's a lot of folks that are in and out there that do, like I said, both chiefs, police and fire, I'm
But
sure
when
they
it
deal with
takes
too.
45 minutes to pick your child up at their
Yes,
school,
yes.
there's a problem.
And, these days, a lot more people are dropping off, picking up, and it allows them to stack up safely, not in the middle of the road.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
thank you all.
Thanks, Jesse. Okay, item 3, old business, Winchester Fire Department funding request, Chief Whiteley and Alicia Martin. you will come to the podium and tell us what's going on.
Just tell them what we did, so they're aware.
I'd like to take credit for all this great letter and great work, but Ms. Martin truly is the architect of this process. I wasn't even aware of some of these things that were available, and we've met with multiple people now. Ms. Martin helped draft this letter. I believe we've sent it to Senator Elkins. As you may recall, under previous leadership of the city manager, we had worked with GRW, which Mr. Flynn was intimately involved with some initiative for Station 3, Station 2, as well as potential new construction for a fire station. We have those plans shovel ready. So with the help of Ms. Martin, we sent that off to Senator Elkins in hopes of getting some fundings of support for one or all or some of that. And I guess we'll find out at a later date.
Yeah, so the state legislator this budget session formalized a process for requesting funding should there be any discretionary funding available. So the correspondence you have is just a letter we submitted to Senator Elkins to initiate that process. And then I filled out an online application. So our request is in the queue for the appropriate committees to review. So like Chief said, we have different levels of funding. Whatever he can secure, we've got a project ready. So, along with grants, we're just trying any way we can to get our projects funded. So, but it's a testament to us having shovel-ready projects. We have the plans, we have the cost estimates, and that makes our projects that much more competitive. So thank you for doing that.
You all have done a great job on that. And if we get a new fire station out of it, that'll be even better.
Fantastic.
So, and we're all still really concerned about the west side of the community with very little fire protection.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, both of you. Any comments from the commission? Okay, item number 4, resolution. I've asked our jailer to be here with us this evening and Mr. Sammons to talk about House Bill 557. And if you all will look in your packet, we have a resolution, but we will hear from the jailer first. Frank?
Okay. I was trying to pull that thing back a little bit without breaking it. All right, first of all, just let me say thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I believe you all have a copy of the CAECO's furnished support of House Bill 557 and also on the second page there, leaders urged to engage legislation on House Bill 557. I just wanted you to have that so that you'd be able to kind of see what we're looking at. I've got a couple of bullet points that I just want to touch base with. As you already know, jails and detention centers, they're the largest unfunded mandate that the state puts on our counties. This mandate's crippling our counties and our city budgets across the state. Now, contrary to some people's opinions, taxpayers who live in the city, they pay a county tax as well. House Bill 557, if passed, it'll move some of the burden back to the state where it belongs. Now, I could spend the next 30 minutes talking about that, but I'm not going to do that.
Thank you.
First of all, among other things, if this is passed, it's going to require the state to pay the actual cost of the incarceration, which is, we all know, long overdue. It will also require the state to cover the medical expenses of the state inmates, which we know is long overdue. It will also require the state to reimburse the county taxpayers for expense when the inmate receives credit for time served. I'll elaborate on this real quickly. Sometimes we may have someone housed in our county and city jail here for a year, year and a half. I've seen it go 2 years. It takes that long to go through the process. The time they go to the different courts, district court, circuit court, grand jury, and so on. You and I, the taxpayers, are footing the bill on this. We're paying for this. 3 meals a day. We're taking care of their medical. Not because we want to, it's because the law says we have to. You know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, the jail costs a lot of money. It does. But we have laws that we have to follow. Those expenses come with those laws. We didn't create it. So this will be good. I just always like to elaborate on that so that people get a thorough understanding of it. Sometimes when it takes them that 18 months to 2 years to go through here and we're footing the expenses on it, they'll go to court when it gets final sentencing. They'll give them credit for time served. They'll say, well, you done a year and a half, you done 2 years of it. That's all fine and dandy. But you and I, the taxpayers, have foot the bill on that 18 months or 2 years of taking care of these people. If they're going to give them credit for it, the state needs to credit back to the cities and counties that have foot the bill on it. The bill will incentivize these regional jails where it's beneficial and practical. An example would be 6 small eastern Kentucky jails, and I'm not picking on eastern Kentucky, I'm simply using them as an example. 6 small eastern Kentucky jails, it wouldn't pay for them to have $30 million or ever how much involved in each one of these jails. So it makes sense for them to have a regional jail, okay? A town the size of Winchester, places, we should be involved in it. But where are we going to go? You're going to go to Bourbon County, you're going to go to Montgomery County, you're going to go to Madison County, you're going to go to Lexington. You know, it's something that we need to look at. I feel this way, as elected leaders, our voices, your voices, carry a lot of weight in Frankfort. And that's why I've come to speak to you tonight to try and ask for your support. Your support on House Bill 557 through a resolution, your personal telephone calls, your emails to our senators and representatives. I think it'll help bring this issue to a forefront. As far as I'm concerned, this money could be better spent. If we need to look at taking care of our cities and counties, where it's blacktopping streets and roads, or it's building and improving our parks, I think that's where a lot of this money can be a whole lot more helpful to our communities in Clark County and Winchester than us constantly footing the bill on what the state should be taking care of in these county jails. They're putting this on the backs of these counties and cities, and it needs to be addressed. And I think with your all support and everybody else's, we can do that. I thank you for your time and appreciate it.
Well, while you're standing there, I will
Yes.
share with the commission that the jailer came over to speak with me. We had quite a good conversation about this.
Yeah.
I immediately picked the phone up and called KLC to see what they recommended to us as a city.
Yeah.
And they said the bill as drafted is good.
Good.
And the other comment from J.D. Cheney was much more constructive approach than we've seen going in the past.
Good.
And they had no problem with us supporting the bill.
I went the first day or two, we had about 14 state representatives that co-sponsored this bill. We were very fortunate to have the amount of people reach out and talk to some of these people. I went the other night to Frankfurt to the CAECO legislative reception. When I got there, they informed us that as of 6 o'clock that evening, they had 40 state representatives co-sponsor, and it was still moving. So that's good. That's a plus. But you know, they always say the squeaky wheel gets grease. So I'm going to try and make it squeak best I can.
Well, and Frank, for clarification, how many folks you have over here next door is?
How many do we have?
Yeah.
We're probably
Right
about 260 right now.
And how many of them are in jail for violation of a city or a county ordinance?
Oh, I understand.
None.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
You're right.
They're all over there for violation of state or federal law.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely correct. But I appreciate your all's time. You have a question?
I do, if I may.
Okay.
So I started looking up what a regional jail authority was. We are not a regional.
No.
So what does it take to become one? Because we would need to become one, right? So I know that's when you're talking about, would we partner with Bourbon or Paris? Because
Yeah.
Montgomery County is a regional one,
It
right?
is. So is Bourbon.
So would we, and I know this is not a final answer by any means, and I know it's not just your decision, but would we join, you think? Would we create? And if we create one, what's that cost?
Well, here's the good thing. I think the way that I'm reading this and understanding it is that it's not so much we have to come to a regional jail. We just have to have an agreement with other counties to house their inmates, which we have done that before. I'll be honest with you. I've housed for Estill County. I've housed for Madison County. We house for Scott County, which, to be honest with you, I don't need to name regional. I'm good. As long as they pay us every month,
Sure.
I'm good with it.
Are they gonna make you at some point?
And no pay, no stay.
Sure, sure.
But it works out good. So I mean, it's a great benefit to this somewhere down the road. And I apologize, I didn't bring it tonight because I didn't want to waste your all's time, get too deep in the woods on it.
No, I've been
But it's amazing. I mean, I sit and I look at each one of these, each year we've been here, how much money we've been able to generate and turn back over to the fiscal courts and things, from housing out of county inmates, from housing state inmates, from housing federal inmates. It's been great. It makes a difference now. They're like the weather. Some days you've got a full house, where you're making pretty good. And by the time they move them or they get final sentencing, and there's a lot of different laws that pertain in this too. It's just like with the state inmates. If they get sentenced and they're 5 years or less time, they can serve it in a county jail. If it's 5 years or more time, they have to go to a prison. Now, they might not stay there for 2 or 3 months. They might kick them back out to a county jail. I just want to be on that list with them.
Sure.
Their money's good and I'm willing to accept it because it comes right back in our community.
So kind of relevant to that, this last one, and I'll stop asking questions, but it says to have contracts with fiscal courts based on actual housing costs. And I'm wondering, what's the gap in that right now?
I can tell you right now, just for a state inmate, I'll use this for an example. Just sit down for a minute when I say this.
All right. Okay.
So they pay us $35.34 a day to house a state inmate.
Okay.
The average that the state pays their state facilities to house one is about $63.44. So there's a huge difference, about double that they're paying their own. They know what it costs. It's just time for them to step up and
Sure.
say, hey, we need to be responsible. We need
Sure.
to address what it is.
I'll be able to do that.
Thank you all for
And we
your time.
included that in the resolution, those figures.
Thank you.
Okay,
So,
thank you so much.
so they are there. Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Does Joey have to read it?
Go ahead and read it. I'll read it.
A resolution,
No, I'm just kidding.
just the title, please.
Just title only. I was
A
teasing
resolution of
you.
the City of Winchester, Kentucky, requesting and urging the General Assembly to consider and pass House Bill 557.
I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion further? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Resolution passes and we'll send it on to Frankfurt.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is 5 orders, general orders. Madam Clerk,
An order accepting the resignation of Joe Chenault from the Winchester Urban Renewal and Community Development Agency Board.
You need to walk out.
No, he just needs to not vote, I guess, don't you?
yeah, he can't, he has to repeat, just
I'll make
repeat.
a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. And Mr. Chenault, Commissioner Chenault, I'm thinking you served how many years on the Urban Renewal Board?
Right at 18.
18, your age, right? The reason he's submitting his resignation is basically because we were concerned it might be a conflict of interest with him being a commissioner and also working on a board that does expend funds. So that was a major concern. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, Madam Clerk, item B.
An order amending order number 2026-1, an order approving and accepting an automatic aid agreement between the City of Winchester and the Clark County Fiscal Court.
Okay, Chief, would you like to address that?
Basically, it's added some language that could outlive the, I guess, my position, me in this position, Chief French in his position, just providing some clarity to the structure of the contract. Nothing about what we're doing, the operations of it or the intent is there to be changed. So it's just adding some one here.
And the change is each party to this agreement shall relinquish command to the authority having jurisdiction and responsibility for the location where any emergency response is taking place. And I think that will clarify a lot of issues we've had in the past as who's in charge.
Yes,
So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chenault. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Tool. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign, motion carries. Item 5C.
An order transferring properties owned by the City of Winchester to Jennings McDonald.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tool. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed by like sign, motion carries. Item D.
An order approving funding from the Downtown Development Investment Fund Main Street Support Grant in the amount of $3,000.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tool. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chenault. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign, motion carries. Item E.
An order approving funding from the Downtown Development Investment Fund Main Street Support Grant in the amount of $3,000.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tool. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign, motion carries. Item F.
An order approving funding from the Downtown Development Investment Fund Main Street Support Grant in the amount of $2,100.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chenault. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. Item G.
An order approving funding from the Downtown Development Investment Fund Main Street Support Grant in the amount of $3,000.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tool. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. Item H.
An order approving funding from the Downtown Development Investment Fund Main Street Support Grant in the amount of $2,587.50.
Is there a motion? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion?
I'd like to clarify that this is a business grant, not a building grant. Yes, that's all. Just clarifying.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. Item I.
An order declaring certain City of Winchester property to be obsolete and surplus.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Tool. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries. Brian, while we've got this in my hand here, this is for obsolete icebreakers and salt spreaders. You can just wore them out then, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, we've already had comments from the mayor, commissioners, city manager, and city attorney in our last meeting. Did anyone sign up for comments from the general public?
No, I didn't even put a list out there. I forgot the list.
Is there anyone else that wants to make a comment? Okay, if not, you've already adjourned this meeting, but we'll do it again. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tool, second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Spend the night here. Okay, good. We are adjourned.
Ma'am, have I ever been unfair to you?